more than 500 companies now boycotting advertising on Facebook. Founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg is now saying the company has no plans to change its policies or approach, and he thinks the boycott will end, quote, soon enough. What the companies are trying to do is pressure Facebook to take a stronger stand against hate speech, and it's already cost Facebook more than $60 billion in market value. To talk more about this, I'm joined by Alan Middleton, professor of marketing at York University's Schulich School of Business. Professor, great to talk to you this morning. Facebook has been accused of not doing enough to remove hate speech and racist posts from its platform. How does it rebuild trust, knowing what the CEO has said, that this is not a problem and it'll go away eventually?
That's the problem, because Mark Zuckerberg is not responding in a way that demonstrates he understands the importance or the seriousness of this. Now, is Facebook going to go bust tomorrow because of it? Absolutely not. But does it damage the brand value? And that brand value matters to three important groups. The advertisers that you've talked about a little bit, the Unilevers are in Canada for July, the 5 major banks. But secondly, their users. And right now, that Facebook is losing some of the younger losers, so some of the alternatives. So they got worries there. But the third area is not being talked about much is their own staff, Facebook's own staff, who are not really happy about the stance that Zuckerberg is taking.
So you talked about the banks off the top. Scotiabank, RBC, CIBC, BMO, and TD say they will stop purchasing ads on Facebook for a month. Meanwhile, the Cokes, the Pepsis, Starbucks, Target, Volkswagen, they're also on board. If you were a Facebook executive, what would you be telling Mark Zuckerberg right now?
That he needs to develop a clear policy. Now, I have one element of sympathy with him, because this is all of how much speech is free and how much is racist and how much is not acceptable. But when you're in a public medium like this, and he calls himself a platform, but recognize it's used as a media, you've got to develop a policy and stand by it. And that's what I'd be recommending.
So Facebook has the problem with the advertisers. In June, hundreds of employees staged a one-day virtual walk-off. You talked about that a little bit. They were demanding that the company do something about the U.S. president and his inflammatory posts. How do you fix that internal issue?
By the same principle, having a clear value statement about what they believe in and where the limitations are, and getting that out to the employees. But the first part of that is they've got to listen to their employees, because their employees, the people they're talking to, are the front line. They're the people most in touch with their users and the advertisers, and they're feeding back that kind of information. So listen to them. Well,
it's a corporate culture that you create, isn't it? You've got to develop and foster that sort of ethos within your company in order to spread it outward. Last question for you, Professor. Is Facebook at risk of becoming the next MySpace?
Not in a short period of time, but this is like little damages, like a drip. Unless he does something, unless Facebook changes, you're going to see an inflection point as this stuff increases, and it will be damaged in the medium term.
Death by 1,000 ads. Alan Middleton, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.